order.
I'll just your pot.
She said pot.
I have so much soil.
I think I'm gonna come in 2 days.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
You know the. Can you hear us okay? Maybe? Hopefully.
Like a community garden. Amanda brought me the pot and McKenna brought me the clippings.
And you
And I
put
got the
them,
soil.
you put them so everybody can enjoy them.
Yes, that's also true. And I gave one of
I
them
don't either.
to Jen Rael.
That's all everybody else.
Okay, y'all ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to the first talking conversation of fiscal year 26, pulling and reading financial reports. You may have heard us refer to this as MFIN, many or all of you have used it before. All right, here's what we're going to cover today. What in the world is MFIN? We're going to cover that first. We're going to look at how to open MFIN reports, how to access MFIN reports, top reports for sponsored projects, help reading financial reports, an activity that we'll do together, putting it all together. I love that part. And the resources and takeaways. And anything you want to add to that? Hey, Holly, hello. Okay, let's get started. What is MFIN? Hey, Amanda. MFIN stands for Management Financial. Now you know why they call it MFIN, since that's not a very creative name. MFIN reports are financial reports that we create through CAIANH's Cognos software, which probably none of you have heard of because we call it MFIN, and access through CU data. So when you go into the portal, it'll show you how. You click on CU data, and then you can access the MFIN reports and the number of reports. So you run those reports if you have a fiscal role on a C type or access to the PeopleSoft finance system. Who needs access? All PIs need and already have access. So you're all pretty familiar with this. And some PRAs might be designated by a PI to get access so that they can help with the management month to month of project fiscal implications and projecting and having a larger role in managing the project. All right, accessing MFIN. You're going to log into your campus portal. I'm going to assume everybody knows what that is. It's the screen where you use your credentials and you see all of the different tiles. You're going to click on the resources home tab, which is up in the left side of the screen, and then click on request system access that we have circled here. It looks like that. You'll use your university credentials to click to fill out the information, use the identity manager tile, and you'll request access. So it's fairly straightforward, but before you do that, you've got to do 3 trainings in Percepio, which used to be called Skillsoft. So the 3 trainings are here: Finance System Inquiry, Fiscal Code of Ethics, and Information Safety Security Awareness. And those will take you, how long? A couple hours to get through?
Maybe an hour.
Hour and a half to get through. And they are really fun to just read paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. So very engaging and fun, but you will learn a lot. I won't say they'd be a resource for you going forward. There are better resources for you once you get the access, but it gives you kind of the foundation of how all of the systems come together and some of that information that you need to keep the system secure and functional. So once you do that, you can go into that request. The request name is CU Fin Inquiry. You add it to your cart. And you add your justification. You show that you've completed those trainings above and the date you completed them, and believe me, they know you haven't. So better just to have that all done before you even start this process, and then click submit. I think when you do this, your supervisor will usually get an email asking them to approve it. And then you are good to go. Process usually takes from request to approval pretty quick. It's like a week max, right? Yeah, I think it was like a week when we did it. Okay, so this slide is giving you a little bit more contextual information about all of the pieces of information and systems that feed into CU data. So these are just some of the systems. These are the systems that we here in CAIANH use the most. There are others related to students, and central HR. There's more information that we just don't use, but these systems, HCM, which is our payroll system, the finance system, and Marketplace and Concur, which you've all heard of, all feed into this central information warehouse, and then we can pull reports from CU data and kind of bringing all of those pieces of information together. Questions at this point? It's just about to get exciting, so you have the foundation that you need now, if you need to access that. Great.
Exciting! She said it's going to be exciting.
And it did.
There's no, just do the air there.
So exciting.
All right. Accessing everything. So like Erin said, log into your campus portal. Once you're there, you'll see all the different tiles. Click on the CU data tile. And when you click on it up in the left-hand corner, you'll see the three lines. Click on context. Once you click on context, it will take you there. It'll take you to team content, and just scroll down, you'll find the finance folder. And of course, click on the finance folder, and in the finance folder, you'll see all that. You can click on the heart, and when you click on the heart, it'll bring whatever you want on this finance page to your favorites. So every time you log into this, every time you click on this new data tile, it just goes straight to your favorites. On mine, I have favorites and recent. So I just always just go to the recent because it's everything that I use. And the one that I use the most is, of course, always there. So I don't even click on my favorite tile, but you can. Archive. And once you're there, like I said, it'll show you recent and favorite. And you could just go back and forth between. And
okay, so we're gonna show you the two reports that we use the most often and probably you all use the most often as well. So that's the financial detail and the trial balance. So the financial detail is an itemized expenditure report. It does show every transaction for both revenues and expenses. We really just look at expenses for sponsored projects. And it can be helpful if you're looking for, a specific time period of things that you've purchased, or if you think that you purchased something on your speed type by accident and you need to find a mistake. It's really helpful to hone in on specific account codes. However, it does not show the full picture. So if there were changes made after the period that you're pulling it for, it's a bit limiting because you might think that we've already fixed the mistake and you might not notice that that mistake has been fixed. So just understanding that it's really just like this window in time and it doesn't show you the whole picture. What does show you the whole picture is the one that we're really going to focus on, which is the trial balance summary. And we're going to do an activity that's going to really help us all pull and read these reports. The trial balance summary is a full summary of your speed type. And it's going to show you that, zoomed out perspective of each category. It is limiting a bit by fiscal year, so you can't really pull across fiscal years. And when you try to zoom in on details, it won't show you information from the previous fiscal year. But overall, for sponsored projects, it shows a good picture. If you have a project that has a new speed type each year, it's only going to show you that one speed type on this report. But if you have a project that has the same speed type, so if there's automatic carry forward, it's going to show you the 5 years or however long the project has been running, which is important to note because the total number is going to be really high because it's going to be what you've gotten awarded each year. Great, so I'm just going to show you how to pull and then read these reports. And as I said, we'll go into more detail in the activity. So this is what a financial detail looks like. It's just every expenditure by line. And to pull it, you want to start by showing what range you're looking at. So just what month to, what range. And you want to be careful about the fiscal year there because you can cross fiscal years on this report. You just need to remember, fiscal year is July to June. So if you're needing something from like June to September, you want to make sure that those fiscal years are correct. And then for both reports, the way that you pull them is you search the speed type up top, you press search, and then you again have to click insert to get them into that choice box. If you're searching for multiple speed types, you can just put them in with a space and you can enter them all in at one time. And then you're gonna click next. For the financial detail, it's gonna take you to this page, and I always make sure to only select expenditures, because like I said, you don't really need to be looking at revenues or transfers or anything. So just, you want to hone in on expenditures. And then you can zoom in even further by expense type. So if you're just trying to look at operational costs, or if you're trying to look at just personnel, you can select that category in that section. And then another way to really narrow down your choices is the account code section, where you can just really type which account code you're looking for. So if I'm looking for like a computer expense from a certain year, I would search that exact account code in the right period, and that could show me. It just really simplifies the report. And then I always recommend to unclick budget and encumbrance, because that's just going to have extra columns that you don't really need. So you only want to be looking at the actuals when you're pulling the financial detail. Great, and then next is the trial balance. So this is what it looks like. It has over here, we'll go into this in a little more detail, but this is a great way just to like see a lot of details about your project. So that'll come up in a bit. And the next is the balance sheet summary, which is really just used for cash flow, and most of the accounting and OGC are going to look at that. There's only like specific instances where we're keeping an eye out on those, but you don't need to focus too much. Revenues, again, is very relevant for sponsored projects. So really what we're looking at here is we're focusing on the expenditures. And then for the sake of our next slide and pulling the report, I wanted to point out this column, which is the actuals for the period that you pull for. So I will show you that now. So when you're pulling the trial balance report, these top two numbers, I actually just learned this like yesterday when which is embarrassing, but anyway, so these top two numbers are a range. So you can, like for the column I just showed you, you can search the actuals for that period. So let's say you want to see like a quarterly spending, you can pull for that period. Obviously the accounting period needs to be higher than the current because it's like it's a range. And then you want to make sure, a limiting thing with trial balances as well is like if you want to be pulling from the current period, unless there's a reason that you need to look back, like see how something was back in time. Because if there were changes, like if you got a new award with more money, or if you did a PET, that's not going to show up if you don't pull, if that accounting period isn't this month. Most of the time, I just have it be the current month for both of them, and that'll just show me like the current month's expenditures in that column I pointed out. Okay, and then same thing here, you're gonna pull your speed type, and then for the trial balance at the bottom, I like to unclick continuing and temporary budget. It just again simplifies the report. It has fewer columns. So here you can either press next or finish. If you press next, you have the option to simplify again. So if you click that, we recommend like the bottom one, which is just, you won't have as many subtotals in your trial balance. A lot of like the benefits will be simplified and it'll be easier to look at. You can do that same selection here, like in the actual report. So once you pull the report, you can toggle between different levels of detail, which is kind of nice. And then here is the handout that we just passed out. These are all the details that a trial balance will show you. And I'm sure there's another way to pull this information, but usually if I need to like quickly figure out something for a project, I'll pull the trial balance just because it's super quick and it has all this information at a glance. The ones that I'm looking at the most are project status, so whether it's pre-spend, open, reporting, or closed. I look at the project start date, the start dates, and then the really handy one is the F&A rate. So if you need to remember what your F&A rate is on a project, it says it right there. So that's saying that it's a 10% F&A rate on this project, which is very helpful. And then the last thing with trial balance reports that I want to mention is there's a similar one, the operating summary, and they're very similar. We just use trial balance because OGC uses trial balance. We've asked them why they use it. They just say because we do. And so it's just it's most helpful for us to be using the same thing as them so that when we're talking with them, it is, the same.
So I was just gonna say, when I get into anything, it looks different than your screenshots, and I can't find the trial balance summary anymore. All I can find is the operating.
Okay,
So
I can
that's
show
what I've been
you.
using.
We'll show you when we
So
do that
something is
activity.
weird about how mine looks.
Yeah, because that's what Lisa's talking about, like with the new system, it's really hard to find the reports, so that's why it's really important to favorite them. But yeah, I can help you.
I haven't been able to find it. I
There's
used to
also-
always pull the trial balance and then
Yeah.
it just went away.
Have you, there's this little search bar at the top too, have you tried just typing in?
I feel like, I mean, it's been over a year since I've been able to
Interesting.
find it, so I can't remember what I tried then.
Okay.
I should.
I can
probably
help you
somebody-
today.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
take a look.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's another way, if you don't wanna click to the finance folder, if you know the name of the report, you can just search at the
I mean,
top.
what you showed, Lisa, looks totally different than what I get when I log in.
That's weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm logging into some other universe.
Yeah, maybe it's. You don't even need that data.
No, I don't. Yeah.
And then this is just for general like tips. Again, the new look is it's like they tried to make it more sleek and it's so much harder to use. But the first thing is you use this caret. If you have multiple reports at once, you can toggle between them that way. This triangle means that you're rerunning the reports. It's going to pull you back out to the settings, and then you can switch the settings around and run it again. And then this is just pointing out that you can download different versions. So I like to use HTML as much as possible because then you can really, you can drill down on the certain hyperlinks, and that's very helpful. If you need to send it to someone, you would use a PDF, and then if you need to do math or that kind of thing, use Excel, but that's pretty, self-explanatory. Great, so now we're going to switch into pulling trial balances and really looking at them more closely. Cool.
Right, so did everyone bring their computer to participate in the activity as instructed? Okay. We have others, we do have a few handouts,
I can go
but
grab
I can share my screen too.
If you
Okay,
want.
so just for the purposes of this activity, I'm gonna introduce the activity and then we'll divide into two groups. And Rhonda, I'm gonna stick with you since you're online with us. So we're going to use this old project, the U54 project. So I'm going to stop sharing for just one moment while I pull this up. And I'll kind of show you how we navigate.
What'd you say?
I said she wanted to get
Oh, she wants us to find the airports.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so this is what it looks like when I log in. Like Lisa said, I always just go to, the recent or the favorites area, because we just kind of tend to use the same reports all the time. So click on the trial balance here, and then you have to pick your campus. Yeah, I thought I was already signed in, okay. Okay. So, for this report, this is an old one, so I'm going back into fiscal year 24. I think I had it typically, like Sarah said, we usually just do it for 1 month at a time, but I'm just because we can, I'm gonna do 2 months of this project. And you'll notice here, for a second, let's see, so this little red arrow is telling me that this time frame doesn't make sense. So I have to kind of go chronologically and follow the fiscal year. That's why those numbers are super helpful. Okay, and then. Sorry, let me just, oops. 63019.
I don't have it anymore.
It's not easy to memorize. The first
speed type I memorized.
it's gone now.
I don't know.
Six,
You ever want-
It's like it's not that.
19034.
So then you search. And then you have to insert. And then we'll get rid of that continuing and temporary budget and then finish. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Do you wanna pass out?
Sure.
I only made 5 copies of that, but we can share and then,
Just like every other.
and then kind of divide half the room up into 2 groups. So like Emily over if you guys wanna stay with me, and then that side go with Sarah.
Just like every other person.
Jerry, did you pull it up or anyone who has a computer?
I can't. Sorry.
No, you're good. If you, it's.
No, I
it's just-
got it up. I just need the speed type.
Do you have my phone here? Sure. Yeah, so I'll be.
Yes.
Better eyes.
And then do you want to pull? If you
Speed
look at
type
this-
is 630.
Yeah.
9034.
Yeah. And then
This year is 24. And we did it in March.
March and April.
I'm gonna do this.
Alright, so I'm gonna go back to the slide so I can talk through the activity 6301934.
It says reports running, so it's good.
Yeah, that's important.
Okay.
I made it. All right, we're there. That line that she has up there. My eyes can't see that.
Tiny library. I'm switching back to the PowerPoint.
I can't see library.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, but I
This
can
is
see.
cute.
Yeah.
Chat.
Okay.
You can't see which one.
I'm still trying to get there, because I was.
Okay.
So the kind of the handouts for the same period.
Yes, the handout is the same period. And I know it's small when you are printing it out, but bear with me here. So, all right, so we're just gonna go through, the report categories, which Sarah kind of talked about, so we can just go, go through it and see if you have any questions. And then we do have some discussion questions as well. So
Here we go.
see you later, other group. All
Okay.
right, I'm gonna bring this
Okay.
over.
So yeah, I was gonna talk.
Rhonda, if you have any
You guys
questions,
can
I'm
help.
good
Yeah,
to you.
so
Hopefully you
total
can see.
budget.
Do you think the sound is
What
okay
is
if I come
that?
over here? Yeah. There's mics over here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll go for each.
Okay.
So you do have.
So starting at the top, the balance sheet summary section.
Yeah, wait a second.
Or wait a second.
Yeah, to get the total, so that, yeah, so this is our total. And. Yeah, I'm kind of excited, I'm gonna quiz you or just tell you, I'll just tell you, so this is all set up in the back end, so when we get a new award. They email us and they're like, oh, just it's like, how do you want to set up? And then we send them the budget, what I made, and then they put that in. So that's what those numbers are. So it's all, so it's all like the categories that they've pre-defined, and usually those budgets are
Here, I can
simple.
go back.
So like, I simplify them.
You guys need
From
to
what
pull it
the
up.
guys make.
Okay, so for those of you who have it in
And
front of
then-
you, so like Sarah said, the balance sheet summary is that top box on the report.
Yeah.
We don't really use
Oh,
this
I
for
guess I'll
sponsored
double check.
projects,
So this is a contract?
but
Something that's weird.
it's always there. And we want that
That
net position to be
is like-
0, it means that we
Do
don't
you guys
really
know
owe
how?
anything.
like
But generally, assets are the things that we own, so in this case, that's in property award, and then liabilities is anything that we owe. We typically don't wanna see that we owe anything on a sponsored project.
I could say never know.
And then going down to the next section, so we're going kind of by row here, sort of revenues, aside from that initial report, we're not gonna have any revenues on
If you
sponsored
click into the
projects,
actual
so.
expenditure, you'll have to use the SPO, which is what's the marketplace, and that name will have.
And then next is the expenditures. So this is really what we look at the most when we're reviewing this report, and we just want to be looking through the major categories to make sure that costs are incurring as we would expect that they would. Things are generally allowable.
And what it does is, what it's doing is.
My account code's thrown in there that we're not expecting to see.
Click on that link.
So like salaries and wages.
So this is like the limitation I was talking about, is that
Bigger
it doesn't-
budget categories,
can't look at
project,
fiscal year.
operating costs,
Yeah, it doesn't work.
travel, and then F&A.
And I'll show you one more.
So I'll go
thing
into
for the
more detail on
subcontracts.
that here in a second.
So every single project.
The
starts
F&A we'll
with
talk about in a
this number,
minute.
4926, so-
Operating costs, one thing that I think is good to
And
know
so, and then it counts
is
up. So
typically, you know, when
it doesn't-
there's
it's not like
budget, we'll
University of New
submit the
Mexico
budget
always
with
gonna
that
be the same account.
that first
code across
row
all
that's
projects.
operating
It's just like
expenses,
how we
general
assign
budget, or I think
in the
that's what it
beginning.
said.
So
You might not know,
we have
every
like
single
these
thing
account
for
codes
every
connected.
grant,
to
so that'll
which
usually have
subcontract
money
is.
attached to
So
it,
that's
and
another
then
way that.
we'll actually spend down on
related
different
is
account
those
codes
numbers.
as the grant is actually
then
going, and so that's totally normal, that
Yeah,
is
we'll keep it.
what we plan for.
Sorry.
So
Okay, and then
you'll
that's
notice
that
that
column
in
is our
this
total
report as
budget.
well, so there's
And
just
then the next
all these
column
different
what I was talking about,
operating
you
costs,
pull that
based on what was
Your,
already
your
spent.
quote, it's gonna show you all the.
And then
expenditures
travel,
for
and then you'll see like that travel.
So it's nice.
Operating costs, and then there might be.
Yeah, if you were
specific
looking at,
account
like,
codes
wanna
for
see what
employer
it
not
was,
less travel
then
underneath
you
that, based on what
yeah, like I
actually
said, we
happens.
don't change
but
it because
we
I'm
do-
usually looking at it
have
more
a
of a big
travel.
picture and I'm not
Yeah.
using this report
Can I
as
ask?
monthly.
I'm hoping there's an answer in the section. I don't,
And
There
then
is.
to-date actuals is gonna be actuals from the
one really
beginning of your
frustrating
speed
thing for
type.
me every time I look up those.
Again, if your
is
speed type,
Those like headers, you
like,
can't like freeze the
like
pane.
Jared's
I
already
know.
on.
Is there a way to freeze it as you're looking through
So
it?
it's gonna show you
or
from the
is there
very
not
beginning
without
of the project.
exporting it?
Like aim
I
ahead.
think you'd have to export it
Yeah,
for
there
its
you go.
own, yeah, I know, I agree, it's super
It's-
frustrating.
Why is that not just like a built-in function? It's an HTML file.
Right, and then.
Yeah, I mean, what I always-
Architect also stays the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And the
that's,
reason is because.
Yeah. Yeah, usually what I do is like, I'm usually looking at the whatever period actuals,
And then the next one is where it gets a
so I
little
just highlight that
complicated. So the
whole
budget
column, that way I know I'm
balance
pulling the
so
right
this is like
number when I
ignoring all
know
this,
as
this is our
Excel.
current budget balance. So if you
Yeah.
go scroll over to the bottom.
That's just what I do, but yeah, it's
Sorry.
frustrating, there's not a lot of functionality if you stay in the HTML version. Unless, like you said, like Nancy or Sarah said this too, like if you wanna see, open the financial
Yeah.
detail and see like a journal entry, those hyperlinks are all live, so you can click on anything that's underlined for you in the report, you can click and that'll take you
Yeah, I
to
don't
the
usually
journal entry to see more detail.
Yeah, so our
Um,
total,
But yeah, not,
our expenditures.
it's a super smart report, yeah, that's smart.
Our
No worries,
to-date
I figured that
actuals
was the
are
case, but I just wanted-
2,335, our
Maybe
budget
you have a
balance.
tip.
No, I wish I did.
Is
Um,
2,44603.
Okay, and then so
Just
F&A
ignore
I'll talk
that
about a
line.
little bit more
It's really
in a
silly,
minute,
but
and then
just
the one
shows you
thing
the
that
total other costs, which is.
is just really confusing
Does that make sense
is
so
there's
far?
that total line at the very bottom of the report, so the
So our
last
next one is
page.
encumbrances.
There'll be an expenditures line that's second to last, and then the total line, the total is not accurate, and
So I have
that's
a quick
why
question. What is
we do not use that row. If we look at the expenditures row, and that is gonna show us
Okay.
like.
It's, yeah, it's expenditures that are like,
In that.
that are already
current
marked to
that-
happen, that haven't happened,
So that's just,
So in this system, you can put this one, but it's gonna be.
I guess Sarah's asked to do see, they don't really know why it's wrong,
Your
Sweet.
personnel.
so we just ignore
So
it.
if you're at 10% on your project
Yeah.
So
now,
on that
that's gonna
expenditures,
be
I look at that,
projected
I
out
to
in
know
the
that's
encumbrance line.
that's what I have left.
And then the other place that encumbrances shows up, is, yeah, is, this kind of Aaron was talking about how everything's connected. Is if we have
Is
a
that what I'm
marketplace
supposed
purchase
to be
order,
doing,
so
or
if
do I
you have a
look at
hotel
the
contract,
for a
it's for $50,000,
I'm
it's
trying
in
to
the
figure
system,
out-
it's attached to this speed
Does that
type,
make sense?
to this account code.
So So,
that's gonna show up, that
Should I go
50,000
on
that's
that?
not paid out yet, is gonna show up in the encumbrances line.
Subtotal.
So that's like it's all connected.
so, okay, yeah, I would say.
And then if you've already paid the hotel,
The F and A, but
then it's gonna be
it is gonna
messing
be,
up
you know,
total, because we're not gonna
the
pay this hotel
expenditures,
anymore.
but
There might
just
still be
knowing
some
that they-
money left over on
that
it.
is
It
not
feels like
hundred
it's
percent
a little
accurate, and it
budget.
does change, so the F and
And
A
then the
will
last
change,
thing
like,
that shows up.
let's say we
usually on
change
encumbrances
someone's
is gonna be
effort
your
on a
F&A.
project, we
So
increase
those
or
are your
reduce
indirect
it,
costs.
the F and A.
The annoying thing about this
This
system is that it's
just
already
a
always
projection based on the snapshot in time.
The,
Another thing that could
so
change the
if
F
your
and A
budget
is
has
we do a
$20,000
budget,
in May, it's just gonna
and
encumber
we
the full amount.
move like
So,
salary to operating expenses.
Usually that doesn't really
out of
matter
it.
because your
So
total
there
is
are
staying
some
the same,
things
but
that
it's kind of-
would
it can
change the
affect
F and A, but you definitely wanna
So that's the
include it into
encumbrances,
thinking
and then the
about
last
last
is
about
gonna be
left,
what
because
it
will be calculated, but it just might
subtract all those projected
100%
expenses
accurate.
and get you
yeah,
what
so
it's, what
it's
it is projecting
a
out.
little confusing, but it does.
Yeah.
It does matter, but it's hard to
So-
put it into the report, so
About the
it is, like I said, it's just based on the snapshot in time with it.
And I think that's something that I have figured out.
So I have a couple questions.
Because the
Difference,
projections.
we kind of started a little bit
Like,
different
you
between the
put
period
all-
actuals versus the
Smart
to-date
sheet
actuals.
salaries, like,
Yeah,
You might be 20% on the project this month, but you're gonna be 10% the rest of the year.
Yeah,
so
You're
look on
gonna
here,
get
that's
excess
like the
20%
range.
for the rest of the year.
yes.
I didn't realize that until not very long ago.
From like the starting period or
So
from
if
the
I have
fiscal year?
somebody who's like high.
From the
this month, like, there are
start of
people that are
the
High because of
fee
the
cycle.
interior.
Okay.
Yes.
But they're not gonna stay on at that level for the rest of the year. It makes our.
Exactly, so when we pull the, like up there, this is April,
It actually
it's only gonna pull
is. So
it.
Yeah.
That's.
So that's like what you
snapshot in
kinda wanna-
time is very
when
important.
you're usually.
Yeah, and I was
day-to-day,
gonna
when
talk
you're
about that
doing
at the
you
end,
want
that's,
second number
that
to be the current
is
month,
a
'cause otherwise
benefit
you
of
just
using
not see
Smartsheet is
anything.
because
Okay.
we are
So
able to.
if something changed, like if,
Smartsheet
you know, we
projections
had
that
that
they
issue with the.
mirror the
Yeah,
trial
like
balance,
if
but
that
they're
was
more
fixed,
accurate in
but
the
we
sense
pulled it
that it
back,
does
it wouldn't
account for
show.
those
Okay.
fluctuations of
Right.
effort month to month.
Okay, next
So if
question.
you know someone's high this month and they're going down next month,
Um,
our projection sheet will account for
So
that,
talk
whereas
about
Edmund
the
can't.
balance, but let me see how
Yeah,
it works.
so it is, yeah, you definitely have to.
So you're doing like
Reviewing
projections,
them.
I appreciate that.
yeah, let's see, I wanna dive into subcontracts a little bit more, so can you click back?
Okay, so Smartsheet is-
Okay, I think the other group is a little bit ahead of us, but this is good, great
Oh,
discussion.
sorry,
You're so much
No, it's great, it's great. So we're gonna transition to talk about the columns now a little bit. So.
I skipped the whole part about the balance, yes, that's right, that's why I skipped something. Okay, so the subcontract.
So like Sarah said, so that total budget column, A, total, yeah, A, that's gonna be what you were total funded for the entire project. And if you just keep the same speed type over years,
Yeah, but.
that total funded.
But that was very good. Yeah,
Funds.
exactly,
So
so
that
the first
number is
25K,
gonna
they get
really
F&A on it,
big if it's.
which means that we get,
or-
like, for the first 25,000 of any subcontract.
And
We
then
get
when you move
interest.
to the next
So
column,
if
the
we have a
period
55%,
actuals, this
F&A
is spending
rate,
in the period that's
left.
selected in the report. So here we did March to April, so this is the total spending in a 2-month period.
The moment they bill.
I'm not really sure why I did it that way, I
We
think I
no
was
longer
just
reflect F&A
trying
on
to
it.
show you that it was possible.
So that's
Typically,
why
when people, like, we just do 1 month at a time.
And
Because again, we're looking at those
have the
projections,
ability
so
to
they
mark
are what did we
certain
actually spend in the previous month,
to
how
collect
was that
F&A
compared to
or
what
not
we
collect.
expected.
And so the ones that are under 25,000 are marked.
And then the to date actuals, which is column C, that's the spending from the beginning of the award to the.
So if you
current year.
were,
So again,
what would you
5
do
years
if
ago,
you needed to like do a
it's from the
projection, you were
beginning
trying
of the
to
award.
project out subcontract spending?
All
How
right,
would
so
you
encumbrances,
account for
we
that?
kind of talked about this with like F&A, and then subcontracts, but take this column with a grain of salt because
I feel like I'm like a-
might be subject to change, it might not be
Yeah.
totally accurate based
The
on.
answer is.
Over months, and then one thing to know is that.
Yeah, it's just, like, yeah, we want to encumber full subcontract amounts, like we don't want to, we just always want to assume.
So if you're really tight on a project budget, this is not typically an area.
Because otherwise we're giving out money twice.
Or say, oh, they're probably not gonna spend it, we always wanna assume that they
So
will
that's-
spend it all down.
And then this is gonna
So
match.
that's why it
So
shows that
again,
it's
like,
not fully
sorry,
encumbered.
subcontracts are
So it's
another
easier
cool
to
thing
just
that's-
kind of prepare and like assume they're gonna spend their money.
So Lisa, McKenna and I are.
We like came to
like every
We can't
subcontract
do
has a
anything.
purchase order, and every purchase
If we
order
wanted
needs to match
right?
these
Like
numbers.
that's
So these
contractually
numbers
obligated.
in the encumbrances
Well, you could amend
in
the
marketplace.
Yeah, you could amend it.
Oh,
Again, should
But
be.
you have to do
like
that like
for
pretty in
subcontracts,
advance.
because we are like.
And they would have to know, you'd have to have a
It's a
conversation
mistake
about
if
like,
they're
is
not-
their
if the
scope
budget's
changing,
not
like,
right.
why are you reducing
So,
their
and
funding,
then
you
these
can't
are
just
all
like
like,
take it away.
every time they send an invoice,
It would have to be
against
like,
this, and
We have
so-
to
Related to the scope of
So it shows
work and
So that
what their
should
actual
be
Yeah.
projections are.
being
yeah,
accurate.
like maybe they're reducing, they're narrowing their
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, so we
and
count up, we
maybe
talk
that
about the
makes
account
sense
codes.
To amend the scope and to
And
reduce the funds
Okay.
in that case,
It just
but.
has
This is when we mentioned that.
I mean,
still have the
I've never seen that. I
We've
mean,
done
in
it on
6
the other
months.
stuff.
So we make sure to monitor.
When I've had a contract with somebody
That's
else,
just
Okay,
so we
one of
were,
our, yeah, okay.
we had one where the.
I
We amended it and took.
Said this a little bit, yeah, I think we've talked about this, how our insurance is tied to
No,
this
no,
marketplace, do you guys, does
Or
that make
James
make
Bell,
sense?
it shifted to a different place.
okay.
And so they came back and said, oh, we don't, are you guys gonna need all that money? And we're like, nope.
That's okay. Like, me too.
I don't either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either, I know. So marketplace is like how we pay invoices.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so
we
it's not
send invoices.
super
We did that
common.
on this project. And.
Oh,
yeah, so, and the purchase order is like.
Yeah.
All
Alright, so,
I
yeah,
guess
and then the next
subcontract,
thing, this is probably, you probably all know this, but
We make a
I'll
purchase
figure this
order
out, the
for
parentheses mean
$100.
negative.
And then every time,
So, just so
we know we're
you,
gonna multiple invoices.
you know, if
every
you see
time
that
Lisa
means that
collects
that's
an
a
invoice,
negative
she-
amount, and then I
It ends up
note
getting.
that I have
submitted
here,
to
cause it kind of
marketplace.
freaked me out at first, like,
Connected to
I'll
that
use the
purchase
operating
order.
expenses again,
So
so
then-
now, if you see the operating expenses general budget has a
in there saying.
huge balance still, and then there's all these negative charges for all the subcategories. That's okay, again, we have that money for all contracts, this is as long as that total
We
amount
will,
is still
we'll read a
positive,
contract,
then,
and then we'll
you
just
know,
go
you're,
up,
you're generally
like
still
Lisa and I will just
okay,
round
but
up back to
that's
20,000,
the
just to make sure we have enough.
Because
But for
operating
subcontracts, it is
expenses
like
belong
2%.
to-
It's like, yeah, that's the umbrella, and then within it, you're spending on different account
And that's
codes,
exactly how
but
much.
Those weren't accounted for in the initial budget
It wasn't
establishment.
we
So
didn't
that
know,
is
oh,
it,
we're
yeah.
gonna have this honoraria payment, or we're gonna have this type of payment.
So yeah, so that's
We're gonna buy
So that's.
whatever supplies, so it's just the general budget is kind of
Gets
catch-all,
get
and
against the
then
account
when you're
code,
actually
and then
spending
it shows
the
up on
account codes kind of fall into that. I don't know if that's a good way to.
So it's that bottom line number in the
Okay,
gray.
let's see.
Expenses.
Yes.
On the far right that tells you what you actually have.
Yes,
Cause like travel was
yeah, and then,
accounted for, so that's why that's. not-
Yeah, consultants as well
Employee travel out of state.
are
employee-
if they're more than 10,000.
Those things were broken up in the
That's when you
budget
pay
when they
the
set this
order.
up.
Yeah,
so they
when
would
it got
show up
spent
as
on that code, it just shows up as a negative.
That's
So,
very rare.
yes.
It's very rare.
It
yeah,
is
but there's
rare.
still money allocated to
There's a,
travel,
like,
general, but yeah, it wasn't,
Field
it
research
wasn't.
services or
employees
society, field research consultant.
when they submitted the budget.
So it would add all the POs on there together.
Okay, so, okay, so we have like four minutes for discussion questions, okay, so,
How are we doing?
let's see.
This is like what I.
So I'm thinking about the period actuals versus the to-date actuals.
I've already talked to one, it's true.
I don't know.
What
When
do you
you
notice
guys
about
wanna, like,
performances?
do
We are
one
talking
or
about.
the other, I don't know how you all use this in your project
Oh,
tracking,
okay.
like,
So I guess here's the
I don't
question.
know, do you find that like comparing
Like when would
the
you look at, when
total
would you talk about
spending to
direct?
the current period
And when
spending
would
is
you
helpful, or how do
talk
you
about
use that?
indirect? Like when you guys talk to TIs,
Doing
I guess
it.
it's more, how, like when you're talking to, would you, do you work with directs or do you work
We
with,
have projected
with
in our like
indirects? And you're
files,
just talking about the total.
and then we just go and like override that with the actual.
It's not like there's no right answer.
Come on, Holly.
You're wrong, you're wrong, you're the boss.
There can't
Yeah.
Just to kind of,
So yeah, so I'll
I
just
think
show,
it's
like,
margin of error differences.
it kind of like to, like Spiro does not like thinking about indirect, so usually like I have, and I always talk
All line up.
total, like I'm always talking
You know,
about
if you get
directs and
March is
indirects.
March, in April.
Spiro is like only
April,
wants to hear
May,
indirect,
you
so
know,
he kind of looks at
We might get
indirects
to
as
the
just
very
kind
end
of,
and there might be some.
like, those
tweaks,
are already
just
spent,
like,
you know?
these are zero
So,
entries or whatever.
you kind of have to know
And so,
by PI,
maybe
like how to
larger-
communicate, I guess.
Not shifting them month to month to month.
But what do you, like, based on on what I told you,
Yeah.
what would be the
Like,
issue
should
of
kind of keep
only
that
talking about?
eye on it, but also
I guess.
scoping back out at the end of each period or quarter or whatever.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
the
Does that
FE
align with what we have
changes, does
Yeah.
that?
across those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I think-
Yeah, I noticed
For every single.
depending on when you pull the report in a month, the benefits like hit at
Is
different
the-
times, and so.
It's the same based on
Yeah,
like
I can also
campus on
change your
campus.
numbers a little bit, it's
The
not.
one
a
I
huge
pulled was 10%.
number, but yeah, so depending on what time of month you pull it, certain things will
Yeah.
hit or not.
But yeah,
That's another-
usually the ones.
Another thing just to consider there.
Is 10, right?
So we talked
And then
about
yours are
subcontract
usually
spending that we,
56,
they're always fully
25.
encumbered, we just expect that they're gonna
Yeah,
spend,
so maybe 25,
everything,
so-
so
Or 26.
just, I guess, just kind of keep that in mind. And then.
Yeah, the main thing is,
account
like-
codes, this is
Like the
something
only
that
reason
is
that the indirect would be
taken me a
wrong,
while, as well,
spending
so
more money,
that 4926
Like, if you end up,
01 all the way to 4926
spending money on
91,
subcontracts.
those are the account codes that we
Over
use for
100,000.
subcontracts.
That means you're gonna cut less than F and A.
And in this example, it's a little strange because they're all over $25,000 to begin with, so they all end in an odd number. But typically, there are some exceptions, but typically, if there's a contract subcontract that's $30,000, the first $25,000 will be on its own line and it'll be on an account code that ends in an even number. And then everything past $25,000 will be on an odd number on a
And the
separate
budget,
line.
you subtract
and
out
that's
all
because
subcontracts and you just
they
multiply the number of
stop
subcontracts
incurring,
by.
For the most part, stop incurring F and A.
And it's over the course of
$25,000, so we have to account for that on the back
So even
end.
if AIM had switched to types of it.
And what we've been trying to do in the smart sheet projections is we try to put the name of the subcontractor in the smart sheet just so that you're able to see like who's actually spending down their money a little bit, you know, who hasn't been invoicing, kind of things like that. And then the final thing to note here too is that the account code is tied to the project, so subcontractor, if they're on.
Do you think I'm missing?
Projects, they might be tied to a different account code on each
Yeah,
project.
yeah,
Just
they
depends.
do. I can't run these reports like.
And usually we set up that subcontractor.
Never
and
really-
we-
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that-
Yeah, it's like, you guys are like-
I was like, I don't have any clue if anyone was talking about giving it to me soon, but.
Right, it's helpful to great oversight, big picture.
Any other questions about?
Hey, I'm just here to support. I do, I didn't know what an encumbrance was.
Questions that you want.
F and A? I thought that was F, the letter N, and then A.
Yeah.
Wait, is it F and symbol A, or is it
Yeah.
F
But I
and?
want to say first.
First and A.
There's things that.
So-
I mean, you might have been just talking about this, but one of the subcontracts is like less than $25,000,
favorite.
but it's showing up.
Your needs is good.
And I have other subcontracts.
No.
So why
I didn't
are they
know
showing
that
up
N
for
fit existed.
You don't have access.
But then when I put
That's column A, which is like the.
Oh, it's like a-
This one was the, is the F and A different?
I don't know if that was
What's
just
the
every
difference?
month, and I used to have to go in and make sure like names of people were correct.
Yeah, I find like
figuring
out
what trainings.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Or making sure.
Yeah.
So that gets.
He can't approve it.
Yeah, okay.
I know for the life of the.
Very good channel. So
That's
that's.
Just so that way you can see like, oh yeah, subcontract 0 spent out their 25.
Oh, yeah, go to-
25, subcontract 0.
Well, you could see that, right?
Okay,
You just like
expanded the dates.
Right,
We could see
Oh,
that.
okay. But
right.
just because we've narrowed the dates, it just drops that
Or whatever.
that row.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's only showing 1 month, so I'm
Yeah, so it's
guessing
just a little-
without too much
Because I have
discussion, that is.
I think I have 2 lines for
Yeah, so
some.
go to view
all content.
One that's 25,000.
And then go to-
that's whatever's above 25,000 showing up.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
to team content.
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought that it always kept tracking no matter what.
That's what's confusing.
Yeah. Plus, like the last steps, but yeah.
Okay, we have a couple things left. We have to put it all together. So I'm gonna bring us back
Oh,
here.
and then you can search. Okay. The search like financial detail.
It does have.
I think I
Contract
can
is-
Okay. Search and financial detail.
I was like, how did I even get this in the first place?
Yeah, you have to like search.
Yes, this is what shows up on TG. It's got this.
Yes.
All right, so I talked about this a little bit with my group, but wanted to just kind of tell you a little bit more about how the fiscal team uses this report in particular. So PIs and probably most PRAs at this point know that we use this to build smart sheet budgets as well. And we do our monthly tracking, and Sarah does a lot with it. I just update numbers. But really we pull all this into Smartsheet and it mirrors the categories in the trial balance, but like we talked about in my group, the Smartsheet is a little bit more accurate because we're able to pull in the planned funding distributions. So if that is like, let's say someone's percent is going from 20 to 10 on a project in a future month, we're able to account for that in the Smartsheet projection, whereas the MFIN reports won't. It'll just see, oh, you're at 20% this month, and that's what it's kind of continues to project out. So we're able to be a little more specific, I guess, with the Smartsheet budgets. And then that's how we're able to kind of show you what you're projected and are you on track, and then we can make adjustments if we need to. Okay. And then here are just some other bonus reports that are fun if you want to get into it. Holly, I know you're chomping at the bit, so these are, yeah, just we'll put these slides on the intranet so you can click the links on them, but these are just some other reports that you can check out if you are interested that we have found to be fun. And then just some other resources. So I found that the controller webpage has really good training. They have like an FAQ section, and they have these recorded webinars that this woman Layla did, and she is like loved MFIN, and she's just very cute. So I encourage you to watch them if you're interested. And then some other how-to guides. So these are also just on the CAIANH Sheets webpage, but if you really want some more details here, you've got that. And that is all we have for you.
What I would say is you can't like break it, so just get into the MFIN reports and just play around with it and run them and see if you can make sense of them. For anybody who's starting out, it's just a really good way to learn.
Mm-hmm. And next month, Kim is gonna be doing this, so it's gonna be exciting. Google Drive versus Google Drive versus Gmail.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, well, thanks everyone, thanks Rhonda. Have a good day.